Yo, what up everybody, this is RBT coming at you with my college football week 3 prediction video. I already made like 5 videos in a row. I've been doing this for like an hour, 2 hours, but might as well go ahead and get this one out of the way so I can upload it later today at about 3 or 4 o'clock. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. Rutgers at South Florida, the Thursday night primetime game. This is 2 undefeated teams in the Big East, and this is a really big game for both of these teams. Is whatever team wins this game is probably going to end up being ranked, and to be ranked in the Big East is a really big thing, because if you can win out the conference schedule, you just slowly go up in the polls, and who knows what can happen from there. And a team like Rutgers, if they can beat South Florida, they play Arkansas, so if they go undefeated with a win over Arkansas, I mean, even though they just lost to Louisiana-Monroe, so that win's very possible. Maybe you hear some type of national championship jitter from the Rutgers Scarlet Knights, but I don't know if that's going to happen, because this game's going to be very tough for both schools. Rutgers been kind of offensively not sound lately. They've been playing great defense, but they haven't been scoring that many points. They only scored 26 points against Howard, but they shut them out. Howard's an FCS school, if you didn't know. South Florida had to come back and meet Nevada, but Nevada is actually a pretty good school. They always run the pistol offense. They have the best coach in the country to coach a pistol offense type of team, because he's the one that really brought it out of nowhere. They have a very talented quarterback in Cody Fajardo at Nevada. So South Florida had a struggle there, but they did get the victory 32-31. They had to come back and win. South Florida has talent all over the field. This game's at South Florida. It's going to be a tricky game for both schools. It could go either way, but I'm going to say South Florida in this game, just because I have a good friend that plays for South Florida. It's a linebacker. So it's going to be a very close game, but I'm going to say South Florida does win this game on the back of B.J. Daniels, 28-24 over Rutgers. Washington State at UNLV, the Friday night game. This is an interesting game, because who knows how Mike Leach and Washington State's going to come out and play. They barely beat Eastern Washington after getting blew out by BYU in the first game. UNLV is always a team that plays teams like Washington State tough. The game's at UNLV, but I'm going to give Mike Leach and the Cougars the victory in this game. I'm going to say 31-28 Washington State. Moving on to the Saturday games. Wake Forest at Florida State. I think Wake Forest is going to give Florida State troubles like they have in the past. They even beat Florida State last year, so it is possible. But with this game being at Florida State, and Florida State's first real test of the season, they played a FCS school week 1, and they played Savannah State last week. I think Wake Forest does give them fits and has the upset alert on them late in the fourth quarter, but I think Florida State does pull it out and wins 34-31. Very close game against Wake Forest. Cal at Ohio State. Cal's not been good at all this year. They can't remember what school it was. Probably like, I think it was Sacramento State. They almost lost to last week. They had fits with them, and then they lost in Nevada week 1. And Ohio State did just like California, or Cal, had fits with UCF last week. So this game, it'll be a fun game to watch. But I mean, I think Ohio State should have no problem, especially with it being at the Horseshoe. I say Ohio State wins this game 35-20 over Cal. Virginia Tech at Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh's probably one of the worst teams in football this year. Not just in the BCS conferences, in all the conferences, seriously. So I think Virginia Tech has no problem with Pittsburgh. I say Logan Thomas puts up 250 against Pitt, and they win 28-10 over Pittsburgh. TCU at Kansas. I think this would have been more of a tough. If Kansas wouldn't have lost to Rice, I think I'd be predicting this game differently. But I would have predicted Kansas to lose either way, but not as bad as I'm going to predict them to lose. I say TCU wins this game 42-14 over Kansas. Moving on, let's find a good game. Louisiana-Monroe at Auburn. If Auburn wins this game, I think it's going to be considered an upset. I'm not even joking you. Because Louisiana-Monroe looked mighty good against Arkansas, and they got the upset over Braid, Arkansas. Just like in my recap video, I'm going to say if Louisiana-Monroe, they can beat Auburn just like they beat Arkansas. Then the next week they play Baylor. If they beat Auburn, they're going to be ranked. If they beat Baylor, they're going to be ranked even higher. And that's when you start to gain some momentum with a team like Louisiana-Monroe. And they play easy schedule the rest of the year, so they can slowly move up in the poll and make a BCS bowl. So this game is very, very important to Louisiana-Monroe. This game is at Auburn. Auburn's already 0-2 on the season, lost to Clemson and a loss to Mississippi State. I'm not sure how they're going to fare against Auburn. Auburn fans are even scared of this game now. So and Louisiana-Monroe was no joke. They played absolutely lights out against Arkansas. Their defense played great. Their rush defense is the most prone aspect of their team from what I saw. The receivers were incredible. The quarterback was a stud. The secondary was locked down on the Arkansas receivers. So I'm gonna pull the upset. I'm gonna say Louisiana-Monroe wins this game, 31-30 over Auburn. Connecticut at Maryland, two teams that are offensively anemic. Even though Maryland put up like 36 last game against Temple, they only put up 7 points on William & Mary week 1. It all depends on how Perry Hills, the quarterback, taking over for injured C.J. Brown, can do in his first ACC test. Wait, I'm stupid. Connecticut's in the Big East. I'm sorry. Forgive me there. But Connecticut always have good running backs in their team. Lyle McCombs is a great quarterback, great running back, sorry. Probably one of the most underrated running backs in the country. So Connecticut did lose to NC State last week, but NC State is probably one of the better teams in the ACC. So I'm going to give Connecticut the victory. It's going to be a low-scoring game. I say 13-10 Connecticut. Alabama at Arkansas. I'll make my actual video for this probably tomorrow, but after seeing Arkansas last week, especially with the questions around Tyler Wilson, Alabama should have no problem in this game. I say they win this game 31-14 over Arkansas. North Carolina at Louisville. Louisville's trying to get that Big East BCS bid. They're already up there, number 19 in the country. They already beat an SEC school in Kentucky, which is probably the worst SEC school by far. But still, North Carolina lost to Wake Forest last week, so that gives the Louisville Cardinals some hope. With this game being at PapaJohns.com Stadium, I'm going to say, or is it just Papa John Stadium? I don't know. But I think Teddy Bridgewater does beat out Bryn Renner, the quarterback from North Carolina, and they win this game. I say a high-scoring game. I say 34-28 Louisville. Virginia at Georgia Tech. Virginia barely squeaked out the victory versus Penn State last week. The difference in that game was the kicker for Penn State was terrible. And Georgia Tech's coming off that 59-0 win against Presbyterian. Don't even know how to pronounce that school. Presbyterian, that's how you pronounce it, sorry. This game's on ESPN, 2:30 game. I'll say Georgia Tech wins this game. I'm say 21-17 over Virginia, sorry. Boston College at Northwestern. Northwestern's 2-0. They have some votes in the top 25 poll. They're not quite there yet. They won this game. I think they probably will be ranked in the top 25, probably and possibly. Boston College looked like a really good team early on against Miami week 1, but then they kind of just blew up out of nowhere. But they beat Maine 31-3. Their offense is suspect, and Northwestern's offense is not suspect. They absolutely just scored like 8 million points against Syracuse that game week 1, but only won by 1, I think. So their defense is suspect. But then last week they only gave up 13 points to Vanderbilt and beat Vandy 23-13. And this game being that sleepy environment at Northwestern, I think this game's gonna be low scoring, but I think Northwestern wins this game by about 13. Let's say 23-10 Northwestern. Navy at Penn State. The way Penn State's playing, you gotta say Navy. Even though with it being at Beaver Stadium, I say Navy wins this game 21-10 over Penn State. No, let's change that. Let's say 21-14 over Penn State. And like always, Penn State's gonna have a crazy first drive, and then Navy's like, have y'all noticed that how Penn State had a great drive against Virginia the first drive of the game, and a great first drive against Ohio in the first game, but they end up doing nothing hardly after that. That's kind of weird, but I say Navy wins this game 21-14. That triple option offense will wear out that defense eventually. Upset of the week. Upset of the week right here. Northern Iowa at Iowa. I say Northern Iowa wins this game. They gave Wisconsin fits the first game. They almost upset Wisconsin, even though Wisconsin's not that great. Iowa almost lost to Northern Illinois first game, and then they lost last week to Iowa State 9-6. So their offense is suspect. Northern Iowa can score some points. As they've shown, they scored 21 against that good Wisconsin defense. And with this game being at Iowa, I say it's going to be close though. But I say Northern Iowa wins this game, 20-17 over Iowa. Upset of the week. Florida at Tennessee. Game day is going to be here. I say Tennessee wins this game. I know I predicted against Florida last week and the week before, I think. No, I didn't. I know I predicted against them last week. But Tennessee's been very impressive so far. They got into the top 25 poll for the first time in forever. But the way I saw Tyler Bray play in that first game and the way I've seen Florida's offense play, I think there should be no problem for Tennessee. I say a 10-point victory for Tennessee. I say 30. No, I say 28 to 20 Tennessee over Florida. Let's see. Any other good games to predict? Goodness, not that many good games. USC at Stanford, sorry. Speaking of Syracuse, USC kind of struggled against Syracuse last week. They got 29 points to Syracuse, but Stanford is nothing like they used to be with Andrew Luck. They're almost last week won to San Jose State. They did put up some points against Duke last week, so that was kind of impressive, but I don't think they can hang with USC like they did last year. I say USC gets this victory 34-17 over Stanford. I think just a few more games to predict. Notre Dame at Michigan State. I think Michigan State loses this game. Notre Dame's been very impressive this year. Michigan State, they looked pretty good at Central Michigan last week, but that was Central Michigan. They struggled with a Boise State team that has no identity at all right now, even though with Chris Peterson, Boise State's always going to be good no matter who they have. But I don't think Notre Dame's as good as people are making them out to be right now, but with the way each teams are playing and what I've seen from both teams, I think Notre Dame does win this game. Very close. I'm going to say 23-20 Notre Dame. Utah State at Wisconsin. This would be an interesting game because Utah State beat Utah last week, so they could give Wisconsin fits in this game too, but I don't think Wisconsin loses this game to Utah State. I think Utah State may make it close. Chucky Keaton's a great quarterback for Utah State, but I say Wisconsin wins this game 31-20 over Utah State. Texas at Ole Miss, so it's going to be a fun game to watch. Ole Miss is still undefeated, so that's a good thing for the Rebels. I don't think they can hang with Texas. I think it could be kind of close, especially with it being at Ole Miss this year. Ole Miss, they still don't have an identity yet with Hugh Freeze as head coach. So I like to see how they can do against a team like Texas. But I'm going to say Texas gets the victory over Ole Miss 21-10. BYU at Utah. Utah's coming off a loss at Utah State, and BYU is trying to get some revenge over Utah in the last few years. Utah has been pretty much the winners in this rivalry and absolutely owned BYU in the last few years. But BYU is very, very impressive so far. They're already ranked 25 in the poll, and if they can, like I said in my recap video, if they can slowly win every game and they have a pretty tough schedule, they could be a team going to a BCS bowl this year. But I do say BYU wins this game 34-24 over Utah. Houston at UCLA. UCLA is going to be, this is the last game by the way, UCLA is going to be getting revenge over last year's loss against Houston. This is a whole different UCLA team. This is not the Rick Neusenheisel team. This is a Jim Moore team. And they actually have identity at the quarterback position in Brett Hundley, who's been playing great this year. And Houston's not been impressive at all this year. So I say UCLA gets the victory this game easily, 45-17 over Houston. So that's been my week 3 prediction video for college football. See you guys later, and tomorrow I'll be looking forward to my NFL Week 2 predictions. So see you later, and as always, roll Tide, go Sox, and go Titans. See you.